Hello, good morning, good day, good night. At whatever time you're watching this cast, I want to welcome you. I've been happy to hear all the reports thus far. There are those who have been enlightened, there are those who have been encouraged. And whatever it is, give God the glory, give God the praise. The last time we studied, we dealt with Cain and his punishment and the mercy of God. We ended in Genesis 4, verse 16, and today we will continue with our study starting from verse 17. It starts off by saying, "And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And Enoch unto him was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methusael, and Methusael begat Lamech." One of the interesting things about reading the names of these people is that they only had one name. Of course, the earth had just started. People could be identified by just one name. Over time, of course, and with the multiplication of people, you get to a point where you either run out of names. I mean, you have to be very ingenious to just keep on. And so we started with two names. And so, for instance, I am Dwight Dawkins. But then if you look, you'll find that there are many people with the same name, Dwight Dawkins. And so, of course, you have the middle name. And even in putting a third name in there, you find that there are people who still will have the same first, middle, and last name. And so the name may be multiplied. So you may have Dwight Garfield, Anthony Dawkins, or you may be able to put other things in there. But the name is what identifies us. And so here it is. It gives you the names of the children and the grandchildren of Cain coming down. Then it starts in verse 19. It says, "And Lamech took unto him two wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah." Now here for the first time, few generations down, you're seeing the first evidence of polygamy. Now realize that God made Adam and Eve. He joined the two together. God made them one unit, the man and the woman. And for whatever reason, now you're finding out that in the course of sin, one is not enough. And so Lamech now takes unto himself two wives. It says in verse 20, "And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ." He was a musician. The other one was a farmer. He was an outdoor type of person. It says, "And Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah." Now, that's the first time you're seeing like a hyphenated name, Tubal-Cain. Here you're seeing a name that gives you the connotation of who you came from or who you're associated with or who has given ownership. It's like, somebody, I'm having a daughter and say, well, you know what? I'm Dwight and, my daughter is here. So I said, you know what? I'm going to name her Dwightisha. It basically puts your name conjugated with a new name to identify the person. Verse 23 now. It says, "And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. He calls them together and said, listen, I have some news. I've killed a man to my wounding and a young man to my hurt. I'm not sure what the issues were that surrounded that, but here we have recorded the second set of murders. Then he went on to say, if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. He said, if my grandfather, who the story was already out, who we know killed his brother, if he should be avenged sevenfold, then based upon what I do, I should be avenged 70 and sevenfold. It's amazing that that type of thought came, and to think that he would express it. It doesn't sound like a repentance type of statement. But as he mentioned 70 times or 70 and 7, my mind goes back and saying, where have I heard those numbers before? If you turn to Matthew 18, verses 21, it says, then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? I can just imagine Peter coming and, 7 is the perfect number. And so he goes to Christ and he says, hey, how much time should my brother sin against me? How much time should he hurt me? So how many times should he offend me and I forgive him? 7 times? That's the perfect number. That sounds like a good theological number to hang your hat upon. But let's continue to read verse 22. It says, and Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. So here you had Lamech making a statement that what I did, I should pay for it. The vengeance should be 70 and 7. But Jesus, who is so merciful, when he was talking to Peter and Peter asked him how much time, Jesus didn't say 70 and 7. Jesus says, 70 times 7. You count that. 70 times 7. Jesus was basically telling that, listen, as long as someone is repentant, as long as somebody has the ability to seek forgiveness, your job is to forgive. As a matter of fact, he incorporated that in what they consider, or what they call the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our debtors, as you, Lord. As a matter of fact, it says, forgive us our debtors as we forgive our debtors. We're told to forgive as God forgives us. And so there's no ending to the grace that God has as it is right now. There's nothing that you have done that God cannot forgive. Now there will come a time when grace and mercy will run out. Our job is to seek it now while it may be found. Call upon him and he will forgive. As we continued in the reading, it says, Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son, and they called his name Seth. For God said, she hath appointed me another seed, instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And Seth, to him also was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. You realize that Cain went down one side. Cain was rebellious. He was disobedient. And so men started to follow after their own likeness, to the point where his own grand or great grand was killing. And as I said, they were all relatives at the time. We were all relatives. So at that time, he was killing his own. God blessed Eve again with a son. His name was Seth. And through Seth, the reverence for God and the obedience to God again was started. Men started to call upon the name of the Lord. And as we go through chapter 5, you will find some interesting things in chapter 5. I promise you that as we study and as you build upon each block, you'll be encouraged and you'll have something to hold on to. You know, I wondered, why is it that the Bible spends so much time with this boring genealogy? But then I realized that evolution can't give you that history. You know, we're told that we originated from a single cell. And from the single cell came the monkey, and from the monkey came the man. Listen, you have no record. There's nowhere you have a written genealogy of where you came from. When you start with creation, we started with Adam. And you can identify the history of Adam and how all the children and grandchildren, you can identify that. It's there, especially in the beginning, recorded for us to see. That's why it's there. To prove to you that our Father all started with Adam. May God bless you as you continue to study. Remember, double check, research, and firm up what it is you believe. Thank you.